Hey, folks. Let's discuss a few capitalization rules. This is in your laws book, the Longman Academic Writing, LAW book, pages 10 to 12. In English, we have a lot of rules about capitalization and when you should capitalize words. Always capitalize the first word in a sentence. This is the very basic one. We also always capitalize the word I, talking about yourself. You also capitalize abbreviations or acronyms, meaning like each letter stands for something, from the first letter of each word. So USA, United States of America, USA would all be capitalized. So any kind of acronym, any abbreviation that has one letter, the first letter of each word, then that gets capitalized. All proper nouns, that means names of people or places, titles, things like that. Um, Names of any deities, like God or Allah, names of people. So, Mr. and Mrs. John Smith. You notice that the Mr. gets capitalized, the Mrs. gets capitalized, first name and last name. Also, titles of someone. So, like the president. This was our first president of the United States, President George Washington. He gets everything capitalized. But here is an exception. A title without a name does not get capitalized. So if you were talking about Professor Eubank, you would capitalize P as my title, Professor, and E for my last name, Eubank. But if you're just saying my ESL professor, you don't need to capitalize it. So if you're just saying my professor, a title but not giving the name, then you don't need capitalization. However, if you are giving the person's name, then you would capitalize it. And sometimes you might see, like if they're talking about president, somebody is talking about the president or the prime minister or some title. If they are referring to a specific person, you may see it capitalized, but it doesn't have to be. It sort of depends on the writer's choice in that situation. So if there, you could say the president will speak to the nation on television tonight without a capital P, but they could also capitalize it because they are inferring, they are implying that they are talking about a specific president. So either way could be correct there. That's where it gets confusing. We always capitalize names of specific groups of people. So if you're talking about a nationality, people all from a certain area or from a certain country, or an ethnic group, that kind of thing, a religious group, if they're talking about a group of people, that would get capitalized. So Asian people, people who live on the continent of Asia, or Japanese people, people who are from Japan. If there are specific places, cities, towns, um, oceans, things like that, streets, all of those specific names would get capitalized. New York City. And this is interesting because city usually isn't capitalized, but when you're saying New York City, you can say New York or you could say New York City, and all of that would get capitalized. The Indian Ocean, that's the name of an ocean. North Pole, it's the top of the world, North Pole. Main Street, that's somebody's road. You also capitalize names of geographic areas, so different areas on a map, the Middle East or Eastern Europe, because that's talking about a specific place name. However, here's the exception. You do not capitalize the name of the compass directions. That is north, south, east, and west. So this is a mistake that lots of people make where they will capitalize north, south, east, or west, but you do not capitalize those. So here's the example. You drive east for 2 blocks, then turn south, and you'll notice they do not capitalize those. You do capitalize days, months, and special days. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all capitalized. The names of the months, January, February, March, April, all capitalized. Special days like holidays, Independence Day, Ramadan, Christmas, any kind of holiday for any or any special day gets capitalized because it's the name of that day. However, you do not capitalize seasons. So you do not capitalize spring, summer, fall, or autumn, or winter. And that's another common mistake that a lot of people make is capitalizing those seasons. If you have a name of a specific structure or building or monument, a big bridge, that kind of thing, you would capitalize it because that's the name, it's the proper name of that place. And any names of specific organizations as well. So, the State Department, Harvard University, or the name of a team or something like that, New York Yankees, all of those would get capitalized. Now, if you are talking about school subjects, if you're talking about a specific class, AESL 101, you capitalize that. Business Administration 312, that's the name of the class. Chemistry 101, it's your intro to chemistry class. You would capitalize it because it's the title of the class. But if you were just talking about the general subject, like chemistry, math, that kind of thing, you would not capitalize it. If you're talking about a language, though, English class, French literature class, Spanish class, whatever like language you're learning, that does get capitalized because we're talking about the specific name of a language. So that's where that gets confusing. But just remember, if it's the name of the class, the specific name, then it gets, or the title of the class, then it gets capitalized. Then first, last, and all important words, usually the big words in titles. Titles can be difficult, but every time you title one of your papers, one of your essays, make sure you are capitalizing all the big words, all the main words in your title. So, War and Peace, very famous book. War gets capitalized, peace gets capitalized, but the small conjunction in there and does not get capitalized unless it's um, the first word in the title. First word always gets capitalized. So the three little pigs, every word gets capitalized, even though the is one of those small words. Um, you do not typically capitalize articles, conjunctions, and prepositions unless it starts it off. It has to be the first and the last word is capitalized. So that's the tricky part there. When you are doing the MLA format, which is a specific format that we will be using for academic writing, you either italicize, where the letters are slanted like this, or you underline. So you have a line under it. Titles of books, magazines, newspapers, plays, and films. If you are talking about a short story or a song, though, you would put it in quotation marks instead. So just keep that reference. You can look when you're writing to remember how to differentiate these types of titles. All right, so then there's a practice there, and I'll stop at this point.